Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Ethan, and this is Roster United. Here today in Roster United, we're just going to talk about, a few new things that have been happening in the podcast, such as yesterday, the new Roster United show, where we talked about three segments. We're going to talk about today future things that are going to change, and stuff like that. So first, let's start off here, just by saying thank you so much for listening to our latest podcast. It's been really fun to make them, and it's just really cool to it's really cool to talk about these characters because all these characters are just so amazing and just so different, and that's what I really love about Marvel United. It's just all the things that you can do, all the things that you can play with and talk about. It's just really really a great time. So anyway, with that in mind, thank you so much for listening. And this is just going to be something really quick. You don't have to listen, but if you do want to know just how we're going to do things in the future from now on, I totally recommend it. Anyway, so let's start first with mini podcast or mini episodes and real episodes. As you know, in depth and some of the other minor things that we talk about here in Roster United, though like the mini episodes, those will be changed to just news, like we're doing right now, just upcoming things. Like today, we're also going to do a schedule as well. I forgot to mention, so I will tell you what our upcoming plan is for the show. So all the mini episodes, those are just going to be news, just upcoming stuff, and that we're going to do here in Roster United. Real episodes are going to be segments, are going to be shows now, per se. And let's talk a little bit about that. So, yesterday we just did part one and part two. And by we, I mean also a guest that we had here called Nayeli. She is my cousin. And if you haven't heard this new show or this new episode, however you want to call it, if you haven't heard the latest thing we've posted, please do. There is part one and part two, and Nayeli was really good, and she's really interested in the game and really interested into this podcast that I've made, and we have a great we have tons, literally tons and tons of people listening. And again, thank you so much for listening, and and all the support there. And I just wanted to say, Nayeli was really good. I think she was really great. I had a great time, doing the podcast with her, the episode. And I don't know if she said it in the podcast in the episode or not, but she told me that she wants to do this regularly. So we're going to have Nayeli um be with us, meaning she's going to be in all of our episodes. She loves the game. She likes, doing these podcasts. It's something really cool, something different, and that she hasn't done. And I haven't really done. I mean, I've only done this podcast for a few months, and it's grown incredibly. And it's really just something different, something really cool. So yeah, she will be with us in lots and lots of episodes in the podcast. You see, she might skip once or twice in a few episodes, um, but hopefully she can stay here. Well, with me, with us, with all of us here listening and talking here, and yeah. So, I got super distracted there. So I was gonna say Nayeli's gonna be with us now. Uh, she's gonna be an official member. So it won't be just I'm your host, Ethan and Nayeli. She'll say her part, of course. But yeah, she's gonna be another host with me. We're gonna co-host this podcast, so that would be really cool. Anyway, about the actual show, about part one and part two, and sorry I made them part one and part two. I only thought there was a 30-minute, uh, 30-minute recording for each episode, and I was, you know, truly wrong. It's actually just recording on one piece for 30 minutes. Then you can record again for another 30 minutes and another 30 minutes, blah blah blah, all that fun stuff. And then you could put it all in one podcast. So part 1 and part 2 might just go and be in one episode, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Super sorry about that part 1 and part 2. But anyway, so how I'm gonna do these segments, it's actually gonna be pretty interesting. I'm actually very excited to tell you how we're gonna do this. So I've noticed, going in depth with characters is super fun. I like to share my opinion on these characters and just go through all of their abilities, and then I just love that. But I also thought, well, sometimes it's a little too short, or sometimes it's a little too long. We talk about it a lot, or something like that. And, I kind of want to pick up the pace. I kind of want to, because, like, for example, last week, I didn't post any new episodes last week because last week was a little vacation from the podcast. Little, just a time off there to think and, to do other things. Um, but, I want to add more content. I want this podcast to be great. I want you guys to love it. And especially, not just love it, I want you guys to hear. I want you guys to hear these episodes. Part one, part two, who cares how many parts there are? I want you to hear this. And, I'm just super grateful that you have, those of you who have kept listening to the podcast. I'm super happy that you have. But I want to put more content out there, so I've decided to make a little show, per se. Make a longer episode where we're going to talk about more things, such as yesterday. I got my little postcards here. Such as yesterday, which was episode 13 and 14, part 1, part 2. And yesterday's show was really awesome. And this was the first time, so I was kind of worried bringing Nayeli in this because, I knew she would do a great job, but this is something new even for me. I haven't even tested this out. But we did a phenomenal job. She had fun, I had fun, and hopefully you had fun listening to the show, to that episode yesterday. And you can hear it now on Spotify for free. Or go to your web browser and click Roster United podcast, and there should be the first link. Anyway, but we talked about we talked about 3 segments, which was in depth, could you win, and hero or zero. And so we talked about those 3 things. So usually in a podcast, we would do in depth as its own episode. We would do could you win in your own episode, and hero or zero in its own episode. And sometimes these episodes can be really short, like 15 minutes long. And then you have to wait another day or 2 days or even a week for me to upload another podcast. So I thought, you know what, just to keep you guys busy, what if we did a long episode? You know what I mean? What if we just pushed it, made it big, made the episode big, and, you can listen for a lot longer. And not just longer, but you can also just have more to talk about. We have more to talk about, more content for you to enjoy. And that's our main thing here. Especially for me, since I first started this podcast, I'm like, well, I want to do something big, right? But I want to do it under good circumstances. I want to explain things good. I want to take my time. And I do want to take my time. I'm taking my time actually right now. I've been recording for 9 minutes and 30 seconds. But I want to take my time, but I think if I can take my time, but also do even more talking about the game and characters and other fun segments that we have prepared, I think it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be really, really cool, and we're just gonna fit so much stuff. So for the next few episodes, we're gonna do, or not next few, actually, for now on, I would like to do these 3 segments per episode, just so you can, again, have more to talk about, more to listen to. And, and it just depends. If we can do this and we do it better and we have a cool little show prepared and, we have a good talk here and stuff, and Nayeli's enjoying it and I'm enjoying it, right? And if Nayeli doesn't think something's right, well, I'm going to change it because she's the go-to crowd I'm going for, especially your coworker, right? They got to express their feelings about things. So if this is all working out, if Nayeli likes it, if I like it, and of course, if you guys like it, that's the main thing. If the fans like it, then we'll keep going. So for the next few episodes, for the next few, shows that we're going to do that, the 3 segment things. So from now on, that's what we're going to do. Also, just there's a few things here on the list of news, just reminders and things. First off, I just like to say, please follow us on Board Game Geek. Now, before I did a podcast, I was a reviewer, and I came up with this very silly name called The Lion Review. Exactly, yeah, The Lion Review. And well, I can't. I don't know how you switch your name in Board Game Geek yet. So I'm trying to find that so I can change it to Roster United. But for now on, it's capital T the underscore lion underscore review. The first 3 letters of those the first letter on those 3 words are uppercase. So please follow us there, or you can just go in the blogs. If you go to Board Game Geek, click the community button, and you click on blogs, you can type in there and search for my podcast. Excuse me, for not the podcast, for the blog there called the Roster United official blog. It's really that simple. And in the blog, what we're doing there, just so I can explain a little bit more, because this video we're just going to talk about reminders and stuff like that, like I said in the beginning. In Board Game Geek, in the blog, the official blog there, we're basically just going to do some funny stuff there. For example, I just did Hero or Zero, Better Ray Bill versus Thor, who was better, and I just did that like 3 days ago, maybe 4 days ago. And yeah, I try to do blogs the earliest I can. I just been super busy. But anyway, we do Hero Zeros. We do top 5, top 3 rankings. For example, we did least to best spider people ranking. So we ranked all the Spider-Man characters in Marvel United from least to greatest. It might surprise you. Who knows? Drop a comment there and like it, of course, just to show some support. And comment. I mean, just comment on your own personal opinion on what you think about my ranking. Do you think something should change? Well, you're not really thinking about this, right? Things like that. Please, I would beg you to help me out with that, because if I'm doing a podcast about a game and I'm missing some things, I'm not really doing a good job. I'm not doing my part, So, yeah, that would be really, really amazing. I also want to say that our episodes, our podcast, is available for free, ladies and gentlemen, for free for you to listen. And this can be, again, type in Roster United podcast, and the first link should be there. It should be on Google Podcast for sure. If you go to googlepodcast.com and you search the Roster United, you should see my podcast there. You should also see in Spotify, which is a free app where you can listen to your favorite music and favorite podcasts there for free. I mean, again, for free. I mean, that's pretty good. Anyway, you can listen to Spotify. That's kind of my jam. And Spotify is just so amazing. They gave me an opportunity to do this podcast, and just huge shout out to Spotify. Again, free place. Download it now in the App Store or whatever store you're at. Sorry, I'm an Apple fan. I don't really know Samsung and stuff like that. That's my fault. But still, you can still download Spotify and still listen on any device, even computers. Did you know that? Tablets, anything. Even VR headsets. I tried it once, and yeah, it works. So please, ladies and gentlemen, do that. That would be a great support. Download the app Spotify, listen free, and don't forget to click the follow button so you don't miss for any new podcast coming out. That would really be a great support for me and Nayeli on the podcast. There is one more thing I wanted to announce, or not announce, but one more thing I wanted to do. Is we're gonna talk about segments. We're gonna talk about segments that new segments just to keep, just keep up the hype. So, for example, we have in depth with heroes and villains. Right, that's really fun. Just to really talk about these heroes, really get in the jam with them, and just get to know them. And I'm almost to a point in Marvel United where I can memorize every single character, what they do. Maybe not every card, maybe not every ability, even though I can remember lots of them. But I mean, like, I can remember, like, for example, Miles Morales, hit heroic character, right? And Spider-Man, all around character, but he can move a lot. Things like that. I can memorize that. Their abilities, of course, and stuff like that. So that's really fun just to go through the in-depth stuff and with the heroes and villains. And I think you guys have enjoyed it because that's what I've been mostly doing for the past few months since this podcast has been official. Also, we are doing ranking, which is a new segment that we're going to do today, actually, later today. In ranking, we're going to, well, it's really simple. We're going to rank any crazy stuff that I come up with or that Nayeli comes up with. For example, top 3 hitters, top 3 characters that move, top 3 team players, top 3 characters we like, top 3 characters we hate, top 3 villains, all that fun stuff. And we're all going to do it in today, actually. Yeah, today. So we're going to do ranking, and just to give you a little heads up, if you have listened to the entire podcast, I'd just like to say right now, or episode, excuse me, I just like to say right now, we're going to do ranking today, and we're going to see the top Avengers in Marvel United. And of course, this means the main 6, right? Not these days new Avengers. I mean the old Avengers, classic Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, all of them. Anyway, we're going to rank those characters and how we professionally think about them. So that's going to be really, really fun. I'm super hyped about that. And, I didn't tell Nayeli yet about that top, 6 characters. But I think it'll be fun because she played most of them. And, of course, she's really good at just knowing what these characters have, their abilities, and how they work, even if she hasn't even played with the character. So it'll be fun to see what she picks. It'll be fun even to see what I pick. I don't even know what to do. I haven't even prepared, and even though we have just a few hours till we're going to air that episode. So that's going to be really fun. Also, we have Hero Zero, again, a really fun segment when we're just going to talk about these two, talk about 2 characters. Usually these 2 characters are going to be similar. For example, Beta Ray Bill and Thor, like we did on yesterday's show, or episode, whatever you want to call it. And, Beta Ray Bill and Thor were like amazing. Like they're both really strong. They're both amazing, amazingly talented, really, and they're really similar. Like really similar, except for their abilities, which is why Beta Ray Bill one hero or zero, the first ever hero or zero. So that's going to be really fun to do that, ladies and gentlemen. Hero Zero, again, just one-on-one, talk about what these two characters have in common, and then what we think about who is the better character. Even though they're very common, they have lots of the same stuff, how they play are very similar. But what's that big difference that makes the other character the hero and the other the zero? So that's what we're going to be doing there. It's a really fun segment. I really enjoy it. Also, we have, what's the other ranking we have? Sorry about that. Yes, Could You Win? So here in Could You Win, we're going to pick a group of characters. Now this can be 2 characters, 3 characters, 4 characters, whatever. And we're basically going to pick, usually it's 3 characters, maybe 2 characters, just randomly. Like we're literally going to spin a wheel, or I'm just going to pick randomly just whatever, some characters. And then I'm going to pick a villain. Again, this is all random. So I'm going to pick 3 or 2 to 4 characters, however, we're planning it, randomly against a random villain. And then we're just going to talk about the villain. We're going to talk about the characters, the heroes, and then we're going to see if it is possible to win. Now, we won't actually play the game during we do the podcast. We won't do any of that stuff. We'll just do our predictions. And then if you go to Board Game Geek, to our official blog, you will see the results of that match that we played. So, for example, later today, you should see the results of Could You Win from yesterday's show. So that would be really, really, really good if you went to the official blog, because it's really fun. And subscribe there, of course, so you don't miss out on any stuff. Look at me. I am a literal little teenager, okay? Subscribing and following is very important, because sometimes I like these YouTube channels, I like these podcasts, and since I'm so dumb and usually really lazy, well, maybe not the dumb part, maybe I'm kind of smart, but not that smart as other people are at my age. Following is very important. Again, like I said before, I like podcasts. Sometimes, since I'm not really that smart, I don't follow them. I don't follow the podcast, and then I forget the name of the podcast, and then I'm back to a mess. So, just so you don't forget, or that you want to keep hearing, but you forgot, the title, or whatever the case may be, just follow. Just follow. It's super simple. Just click one little button or link or whatever it is, and then you already followed. So it's really fun to do that. So don't miss out on that. Also, we have a brand new segment that I thought about. And this segment is going to be really cool, because we're going to talk about things that Marvel United can do in the future. Or, that this game can do in the future, or that what can we add to Marvel United in our very own opinion, Like, what if we were the designers of the game? What would we make different from Marvel United? Could we do Marvel United in a 6-player game? But how? Can we do Marvel United? Can a squad somehow and fairly play against 2 villains? Things like that. Is it possible? Well, that's what we're gonna talk about, because I have some cool ideas there that I think, like, well, I think if they can change this on the game, it would be more fair, or whatever it is, or get more harder. It don't matter, but basically that's what we're gonna be doing, and that's gonna be really fun. Also, we're by talking about the future of the game, we're meaning talking about any rumors, talk about any potential expansions that could come out. And of course, we're going to be talking about X-Men United in that segment, mostly to X-Men United for the first few episodes, because X-Men United has come out in a few locations. Some people have it around the world. I don't currently. I might have it here in a pair of weeks here. But for now on, we're gonna talk about the villain mode, how that's gonna be fun, how Marvel United really just changes and evolves into being a bigger game. That's gonna be really fun, and that's what we're gonna talk about. So these are all the segments that I'm thinking about right now. If you want to give me more options or more cool ideas, please go to Board Game Geek. Go to the official blog. Add a comment to me. Or when you go to the official blog, you can see my profile. To go there, send a message to me. Tell me, anything you want. As in podcast related. For any cool segments or other cool ideas that we could do in the podcast. And hey, you never know. Maybe your idea is amazing. It's probably something I never thought about, and it can be on the show. So that'll be really fantastic. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Ethan. I know this has been a kind of a weird podcast today, but I think it was one that was necessary just so you know how things are going to be working in the future. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you super, super much for everything. And I just hope you have a great day. Again, don't forget to follow and subscribe us on Board Game Geek, and as well as on Spotify or Google Podcasts or wherever you hear your podcast. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you later. Super sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I totally forgot to say something here in the episode today, in the mini episode. I forgot to say two things. Don't forget to also go to the rosterunited.boxmode, boxmode.io, because that is our official website, and there you can see our upcoming news and different things that you missed. Anyway, what I wanted to say that I forgot, because I was so carried away by talking about everything else and covering everything. A few new heroes will be joining the character stats on the website, Hero Stats. For example, Luke Cage, Doctor Strange, and Scarlet Witch. Yes. So those three characters will be on the hero stats on the official Roster United website. And also, I also think that is it that I have to pretty much cover. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for listening. We hope you have a great day. I am your host, Ethan, and this now is officially Roster United, and this is an official goodbye. See you later, ladies and gentlemen.